Bugle, a sort of elk from Timbuctoo, by Roger Hargreaves. Bugle was a sort of elk, a Timbuctoo elk. He lived in Wapiti Cottage in Timbuctoo. As you know, elks stand majestically in the woods to give the impression they are brave and bold. Bugle was certainly that, the most fearless elk in Timbuctoo. He always laughed in the face of danger. Our story begins when Bugle was out for a walk in the woods, when he overheard someone calling for help. "Help!" called the voice. "Someone's in trouble," said Bugle, and off he raced to the rescue. Would you like to know who it was calling for help? It was Jump, who was a sort of kangaroo. He was jumping so high, he somehow landed in between the branches of a tall tree and got stuck. A crowd gathered round the tall tree. "Don't worry, Jump," called Drone, a sort of beetle. "Help is on the way!" As indeed it was. There was Bugle on the scene. "Oh, thank goodness you're here, Bugle," said Drone. "Jump is stuck up that tree and none of us can climb trees without a ladder." "Leave it to me," replied Bugle, and off he went to his house in the woods to fetch a ladder. It was a very long ladder. He came back, settled it on the tree, and climbed up. When he got to the top, he freed Jump from his wooden imprisonment, put him between his antlers, and climbed down. Once they reached the ground, Bugle put Jump down on the grass. "Bonza, mate!" cheered Jump. "What would I do without you, Bugle?" "All in a day's work," replied Bugle. Everyone cheered and marvelled Bugle's bravery, except for two people who had overheard it. They were Blubber, a sort of pompous walrus, and Bite, a sort of troublesome mosquito. "Pah!" scoffed Blubber, who always preferred it if he was the centre of attention. "I've saved all sorts of lives in my time, and no one ever cheered it for me," he bragged.
"Yeah, I know how you feel," replied
Bite.
"What we need to do is find out what he's scared of."
Blubber grinned a devious grin. "Well, let's put our plan into action," he said in an oily voice. The following day, Bugle was in Wapiti Cottage having his breakfast, grass and maple leaves, when he received a call. It was from Stampede, who, as you may remember, or maybe you don't, is a sort of worried wildebeest. "Hello, Bugle, are you there?" asked Stampede. "You're speaking directly to him," replied Bugle. Stampede explained to Bugle that he thought he heard strange eerie noises coming from outside his house. "Fear not," said Bugle, "help is on the way." And he finished his breakfast and set off to the Timbuctoo Serengeti. He later arrived at Herd Cottage, which is where Stampede lived, and knocked on the door. Stampede answered. "Oh, Bugle, thank goodness you're here," he said. "I was just about to read this book about how to worry less, until I heard ghostly wailing sounds." And sure enough, there certainly was an eerie moaning sound. "Ooh!" Stampede was very worried. Bugle stepped outside to see where the noise was coming from. "I'll need your broom," he said. "I'll find out what's making that noise and strike it with this broomstick." Stampede handed Bugle his broom, and out stepped Bugle into the night. But when he tiptoed outside, the ghostly figure darted past him with all speed and put mud into his face. "Hey, I can't see! What happened?" asked Bugle. Meanwhile, the ghostly figure hid behind Herd Cottage and said in a snorty, pompous voice, "Oh, what a ghostly trick that was!" cackled his pointy-nosed accomplice.
It's a special treat.
Stampede heard who the voices of the ghost and his accomplice belonged to. It was Blubber and Bite. He then tiptoed outside and whispered to Bugle, "Bugle, Bugle, I found out who the culprits are." And he explained to him about Blubber and Bite's ghostly trick. That gave Bugle an idea. "Have you got any white bed covers, Stampede?" he asked. "Plenty," said Stampede. "I'll go and fetch some." Stampede fetched one of his white bed sheets and draped it over Bugle. Then they tiptoed outside. Blubber and Bite were just discussing what to do next when they heard an eerie voice ringing out, "Blubber, Bite, this is the voice of your conscience speaking. Ooh, leave us alone," thundered Blubber. "Don't tell me to leave you alone, you big bossy blubberguts. I'm your conscience. You scared Stampede, didn't you?" No, I didn't. And neither did Bite. It was someone else who did it. We're going to tell on them," replied Blubber, trembling with fear. "There's no one else but you and Bite. It was the pair of you who did it. Ooh!" came the eerie voice again.
Oh, come on. Whose side are you on?
demanded Bite, feeling rather scared. "Not you or Blubber. Ooh!" said the ghostly voice again. "Then get out of our heads, silly voice!"
Then get out of our head, silly voice!
they both said at the same time. "Ha! Try and make me, you pair of rapscallions! Ooh!" the spooky voice came again. Blubber and Bite couldn't take it, and they ran away feeling scared and ashamed of themselves. Bugle went back inside Herd Cottage. Stampede was feeling much better after seeing the looks on Blubber and Bite's faces. "Thanks so much, Bugle. What would I do without you?" said Stampede. "Next time I'm feeling worried, I'll call you again and I can sleep easy every night." Bugle smiled. "Well," he said, "I know for a fact there will be a ghost of a chance."